Policy on this, but we are thinking about these things because we have to.
Urging citizens to desist from purchase and consumption of chloroquine as cure for COVID-19. Health Minister says intake of chloroquine has not been certified by relevant authorities. He also advised state governments to take seriously issues of contact tracing and surveillance to increase daily testing.
I also advise those who are taking the test and are waiting result to heed the advisory to self-isolate yourselves in your homes until you get your result, and in order to be able to save your friends and your family, wear masks and observe hand and respiratory hygiene until your result is out.
The PTF also provided answers to many questions bugging Nigerians, including time for reopening of schools.
It's not true that in 2 weeks' time, the schools will be opened.
Institutions and organized bodies are also urged to come up with strategies that best suit the operation within the COVID-19 era for review and approval.
Recession is looming. This is the projection of the National Bureau of Statistics. However, with the current stimulus plan to sustain the economy, Nigeria is expected to negotiate this economic labyrinth confident in its navigational tools. Let's get the highlights of Thursday's National Economic Council meeting from Jide Onifade.
We're facing a very significant economic downturn, a type that we have not seen in the history of our country.
A very difficult and challenging times for the country indeed, as it is elsewhere across the world. Not only on the economic aspect, but as Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed explains to the council, the health of the nation is also being affected as resources to fund the ravaging coronavirus pandemic is very expensive.
In the collapse in oil prices,
the impact of the pandemic on the economy, the minister says, is already showing on the nation's revenue and foreign exchange earnings. Net oil and gas revenue input to the Federation account in the first quarter of 2020 amounts to 940.91 billion naira, which represents a shortfall of 125.52 billion naira.
But with the work that the Economic Sustainability Committee is doing, bringing up a stimulus package, we believe that we can reduce the impact of that recession. And if we apply all that has been proposed and we're able to implement it, we might end up with a recession that is minus 0.4%. So in any case, we'll go into a recession. What we're trying to do is to make sure that it is shallow so that we'll be able to quickly pull out of it come 2021.
On the presentation to the Council by the Economic Sustainability Committee, headed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, it's resolved that the next Special Committee on COVID-19 meets the Economic Sustainability Committee to further discuss the work and post-COVID-19 National Sustainability Plan.
At our last meeting with Mr. President, it was clear that the President was clear that the Governors Forum and the Presidential Task Force to meet and agree on steps to be taken. And it has been discussed today also, and commitment has been taken.
The summary of it all is that using technology and the resilience of the Nigerian people, we will get through what we are going now, or what we're going through now, and of course we will take this country to a path of sustainable economic growth and development.
Council receives an update on polio eradication and support to community transmission of COVID-19, presented by the Minister of Health.
Now, the House of Representatives is partnering with the executive arm in the fight against coronavirus. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, has inaugurated an 18-member ad hoc committee on COVID-19.
Negate the effect of hazard from COVID-19. In a country of this nature with about 200 million, we need to take care of our citizens. And in this taking care, the government takes the lead, while all other people will contribute their quota. Part of that quota is the legislative backup.
Citizens, doctors, nurses, and all the health workers on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19 in Nigeria receive the full protection that they deserve and the benefits they have so honorably earned.
We will interact and make sure we do those things that will add value to what is happening.
Okay, with the economy severely hit by the realities of the moment, many say more than ever before, looking inwards and boosting domestic competence in different sectors of the nation's economy is imperative. Joining us is a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Chris Emeka Zubogu, member representing Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and Ekwusigo Federal Constituency. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I almost didn't recognize you with the face mask, but of course, it's still you. Now, let's start this way. You saw that National Economic Council meeting. The forecast is not the prettiest. So how do we navigate this economic labyrinth?
Thank you very much. Just like any situation that involves everybody, when you sit down and take the initiative and begin to create the framework that will drive the process. At the council, you see Mr. President seated, communicating with all the governors, which means there must be a strong collaboration between the national and sub-national government to solve it, for us to all come out of it. It is the worst we are going to experience because in days ahead, a lot of things will start coming up. But we need to, as a people, just face it as a challenge. People have come out of war situations, maybe where they've been in a state of war, yet they overcame it. COVID-19 has come. The reality is that we have to face it. And just like it's been mentioned here, we have to get ready to ensure that we do not, as government have already started opening up the economy, we will not breach the protocols that have been established that will protect us. In case of doing that, we will agree that life will never remain the same anymore. Businesses will not be conducted the way it has to be conducted. It has been conducted before. Education is going to change. So many things are happening. That's why there is more to it than we can easily see now. But the truth is that we have to be ready to brace up and face the challenges. We are going to face it. We have to know that the education system has to change. The way we learn have to change. The way we interact have to change. The way we do business have to change. A lot of things will never be the same again after this. So these are the things we have to be.
I don't know whether you did some form of prediction, but not quite long before the pandemic hit us here in the shores of the country. You did some, youth empowerment programs in your constituency involving about 250 youths, all kinds of things, ICT, leather works, food processing, product packaging, and design. These will come in handy in the coming months. Are you still looking at more to do because the youth will surely need this?
It's important that generally as a nation, we begin to review our educational system. The educational system we have does not focus more on skill and competencies. If we want certificate, that's why we're going to begin to talk about vocation and skills, because these are life-sustaining skills, we call it. It's important that you impact it on people. Government will not employ everybody, and also our economy, if you look at it properly, it is driven by informal sector. It's driven by MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises. And if you look at the stimulus that are being developed by even federal government, state government, it's about them. Why is it that it was difficult for us to shut down for a long time? Because over 80% of Nigerians actually depend on daily income, informal sector. And because of the nature of businesses, it becomes difficult to keep people at home without meeting disorder. Because if you stay longer than that, a lot of people cannot sustain themselves. But we thank a lot of people, both government and individuals, who try in their way to support the vulnerable people in our society the much they can. But I'm sure to tell you that things are not going to remain the same anymore. Because if you continue that, there's a spate of increase in crime and other things, and violence and resistance. So we must look at it very well. There are going to be a new set of skills that will require for us to survive in this. So government must take a lead to create centers for skill acquisition, vocational training, food that will be up. Because if we do that, the next level of economic growth and development will be hinged on primary development of economy, primary industries, like agriculture, light manufacturing, processing, the entire valuation of food, basic processing of basic raw materials, and light manufacturing. We must, as a nation, depend less on importation.
You just mentioned manufacturing. You come from that hub.
Sure.
The automotive industry, the value chain there, leather states, brake pads, and all that. In terms of the response of the youth to some of the initiatives you've talked about, how enthusiastic are they to pursue, what you have described as life-saving skills rather than just paper qualifications?
Thank you very much. Because there's no option anymore. Once we leave it as an option for people who have gotten a paper certificate, that if you are ready to acquire this skill within a specific amount of time, there's a job for you or there's a small business for you, it's there. All of them are interested. They are. The next level is, what kind of incentive do you need to give them? Most of them, they look at giving only cash. But cash alone cannot, initial capital is not the only thing you need. You need an enabling environment. You need a linkage between you and maybe an off-taker. As a new business, if you are putting in a place whereby government knows that you're existing and there's a need for sensitization, then you create market off-takers. If you create up cooperatives, outgrowers, outproducers that will produce for bigger people. You have forward contracts about whatever you produce and somebody will be an off-taker. That way you start. So you need to create hubs, create mini manufacturing centers, provide infrastructures for them, like power and everything that will make their cost of production to be competitive. Because we are involved in global economy. So you must be competitive. So you need to have skills. Then for big companies that want to come and establish, they need skilled manpower. Because what moves industrialization is that when you have enough skilled manpower, big companies are looking for cheaper labor because they want to be competitive. So they will side the industries where they can locate affordable labor. Do you understand? Competitive, qualitative labor, but they are very affordable. Once you do that for them, a lot of industries will flock in and will create a lot of employment for a lot of people. So it's got to be a mix of all this.
All right, let's move away from the economy briefly. We'll take this one talking about politics. Edo and Ondo State will soon begin to witness the political podium dances again as the activities leading up to the gubernatorial polls commence. This is the reality that INEC is recalibrating for in the wake of the ravaging pandemic, and the motivated contestants, who are chomping at the bit.
In politics and elections, there is no break. Having break means invitation for constitutional crisis. And since the constitution is blind to coronavirus, the tenure of the governor of Edo State ends on the 11th of November 2020, while Ondo State ends on the 23rd of February 2021. So, the elections must go on. But this is a moment of history that is unique, so the guidelines have to be adjusted. The timetables are out for Edo and Ondo already, and there are no alterations even in the face of the striking COVID-19.
The Commission has fixed Saturday, 19th September 2020, as the date for the governorship election in Edo State, and Saturday, 10th October 2020 for Ondo State.
In Edo, for instance, notice of election is on the 1st of June. Collection of forms is 2nd. Conduct of party primaries is from 2nd to 27th of June. Campaigns start from the 21st of June. Submission of candidates June 29, while Ondo will start its notice of election on the 1st of July. Collection of forms on the 2nd, party primaries 2nd to 25th of July. Campaigns start from the 13th of July. Submission of candidates is 28th, while the election day is 10th of October.
The violence during party primaries and electioneering campaigns are acts punishable under our electoral laws.
INEC is thinking deep and fast to conduct the elections in line with the compulsory new traditions set by COVID-19. So, a policy document covering health, legal, elections, planning and operations will be out on Monday, 25th of May, 2020, while series of meetings from the 30th to June 3rd with stakeholders to acquaint them with the policy document. Besides the 2 governorship elections, 9 by-elections in 7 states will also be seeking INEC's attention. Though no date yet for those elections, but because of constitutional exigencies, they may come up before the election day of Edo and Ondo governorship polls. However, following the due registration of some political parties on the 6th of February 2020, only 18 political parties will participate in those elections.
All right, there's a little bit of change, especially for politicians now, especially with the conversation surrounding public gathering. Yeah. Rallies may be out of it, so you have to look for more creative ways of reaching your people. How is that going to look like? Are you beginning to look at, reaching out to the voter, to the citizen as party members, as politicians as well? Because the normal or traditional dancing at the podium may be outlawed.
Thank you very much. Like I said, our entire life system has completely changed with COVID-19. Everything we are looking at will be done differently. But unfortunately, the laws guiding election in Nigeria must consider that in the next amendment. Because anything you do outside the law becomes a problem. Probably now, out of guidelines from INEC, who by the Establishment Act is empowered to set out guidelines and rules on how to engage in elections. But the constitutional amendment or the electoral act amendment is very important, that it must be done to consider that. Because the way we engage in electioneering, the way we even vote, take for instance, when you don't cluster during voting, that we must consider electronic voting. These are realities. In the time past,
at least
the exigencies of today's need will make it that.
At least at the short term, there must be a lot of distance.
That one is not impossible because of what is happening. It is there when you say it, but when it comes to that issue, how to control it, how to enforce it, how to do it becomes difficult. There are things you say, but because we are leveraging on technology, we must have to leverage on technology to approve. Like classes, most children cannot go to school because they have to stay at home and use and work online. So it's part of it. Same with election. Those who can afford not to go to queue up can afford to vote from the comfort of their home. So it's a reality that we're going to face. And these are things we need to begin to think about for us in the parliament, how to make sure that we provide the legislative framework that will allow it to become legitimate, because it is going to be a major challenge for us. Life has to change and things have to begin to change that way.
All right, on the home run, the Future Assured initiative of the wife of the president has adopted a creative way of ensuring health and wealth for women and youths. Let's hear from Yunusa Hassan Barao.
The use of hand sanitizer, regular washing of hands, maintaining social distancing, and above all, the compulsory use of face masks, among other preventive measures, are some of the guidelines put in place by the government to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the country. This, therefore, has made the need for face masks to be in high demand by the people in Adamawa State, hence its production by the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, to be distributed free of charge to the people. As part of its sustained efforts aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19 in the country, the National Directorate of Employment, in collaboration with Wife of the President's Future Assured initiative, is producing 20,000 face masks in Adamawa State so as to contain the spread of coronavirus.
We are here to produce thousands of face masks to Adamawa State indigene for them to stay safe, to stay alive.
Because of the pandemic, that is why we want to produce for people, because some people don't have money to buy it.
One of the major advices had always been that people should wear face mask because it mitigates the spread greatly.
All right, thank you, Yahanasu Hassan Barao, with that report. This is the home run. Before we go, final words from the honorable member representing Nnewi North and Nnewi South to your constituents and Nigerians in general on the new normal.
And the new normal is that we have to face the new realities, which is gone the new normal. That we must strive to do away with things we can afford to produce locally. We are looking up to both the Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Agriculture, and Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to begin to work out a strong collaboration that will exploit all opportunities we have so that we can begin to produce most of the things that we can afford to produce locally and depend less on importation. I can tell you reliably, Our importation has always been sustained with revenue from oil. There's no more foreign exchange that will sustain the kind of lifestyle. So we must look out for revenues that will sustain primary production locally so that we can create the infrastructures and the footholds that help us to begin to produce in a manner that will be more sustainable, ranging from agriculture to light manufacturing to everything. We must, that's the most, have inward searching and support ourselves, like the Economic Council that met. Both states, there are states that have competitive advantage. The federal government will support them on that area so that we can bring together whatever we have within Nigeria as a nation to bring about a sustainable way of living. And that will bring about genuine growth and development. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being a part of Political Update, and you also for watching. That has been Political Update for today. We thank you for watching and urge you to continue to adhere strictly to the guidelines to safeguard against a ravaging virus. My name is Fisai Ogunfin. Thanking you for staying tuned. All the best. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and happy Eid al-Fitr to our Muslim brothers.
Thank you very much.